Hybris News. My name is Suresh Kochati. Today we have with us two young men, if you can call them that, with us on this show to talk about how to fund startup in an environment that we are presently seeing ourselves in. Amit and Ram Nivas are here with us on the Skype call, and they are going to support startups through an angel funding, particularly looking at the scenario that the startups will face in a post-lockdown scenario that we're going to see maybe unfolding in the next few weeks, or rather has unfolded. So, who do you want to start, Amit or Ram? Who do you want to start first? And by giving a small introduction about what exactly you do.
As a group of angel investors, when we, and I'm being a kind of a founder of one organization, what we know for sure is that the whole funding cycle, starting from a term sheet to actually getting money into the account, takes somewhere around 5 to 6 months, even in the most happiest path, right? Where term sheet get finalized, then you will go for shareholder agreement, then due diligence will happen parallelly, right? And the SHA will only get signed once due diligence is complete. Due diligence, depending upon the number of anomalies company has, may take starting from a month to 3 4 months. Then drafting of SHA and signing it take another month or so, and then you go for a call for money, right? And then money get into the company's account, and then company has to issue the shares. Then only they can use the money. So this whole process takes usually 5 to 6 months. Okay, there was some many promising startup, right, who may have term sheet because it's a continuous thing. These deals are ongoing in the market, but because of the COVID scenario, right, the funding has been deferred. It's not like denied, but has been deferred. Right? People are saying that okay, let things go back to the normal, and only we will resume the funding. But for these startup, their money requirement, their burn, their investment is regular. They will not going to stop because of the COVID. Because in a startup, primarily your cost is salaries, right? So you can't stop your salaries, right? So you can't, you will not go for a aggressive growth path, but you need a survival. So the idea of this fund was that let us support those startup who have a term sheet, but their funding has been delayed by because of the COVID-19, right? Let's support them so that they pass through this period and they resume their funding as soon as the things are normal. So that was the idea.
So, Ram, let me take you on here. You said that any startup in any sector, and basically they need a survival kind of money, as Amit was rightly describing. So how many? I mean, what kind of scenario are you reading in presently? I mean, you must be in touch with a few startups. How are things shaping up there?
To be honest, once we circulated, the idea about this, angel investment to startups to help in this, COVID scenario, uh, we we didn't publicize about it. We got very good response. We had more than 2 dozen proposals coming from several startups in just 1 or 2 weeks. So, as you know, we have our jobs, we have our own business. So, all of us we meet on weekend. We discuss about the proposals which we receive, and then we review the pitch deck which we received from the startups. So we got received a lot of promising, proposals from the startups, and who have approached us since we launched this initiative. You have the background about the technology. You have you understand the startup scenario.
So, Amit, when we look at startups, typically the cash burn happens pretty fast from the time they start getting the funding. I mean, I must have gone through about something like 40 to 50 startups in my life, mentoring them, and I've seen hardly about a, kind of a 10% or a 5% survival rate in this entire scenario. Most of them are Me Too products. Uh, I spent a lot of time in media and healthcare, so I see a lot of proposals from that front. Everybody wants to be the next Zuckerberg. Everybody wants to be the next Leon. I mean, Travis Kalanick. Everybody wants to be, start up the next Twitter, but nobody has a unique product. When you analyze businesses that come to you, and especially what's going to happen in a shake-up in a post-COVID scenario, how do you look at unique startups? so that you feel that you have a sixth sense to say that these guys will succeed?
Yep, I think that's a really good one, right? And it's very close to my heart as well, right? As you rightly said, they are more of a copy-paste startup that we are getting into the market, and the fundamental problem with the copy-paste startup is they meant for a different economic class, right? And they cater to that kind of economic class in India on, as well, right? So you talk about, with all the due respect, all the successful founders, you talk about Uber, Ola, right? They are solving the problem of transportation for the metro cities. But if you look, India as a country, we have many fundamental problems. Those are impacting much many lives than what these problems are impacting. So it's very important, right, to find a right problem and finding the committed team. But unfortunately, right, because I've spent I, I I I got funding in my own startup 2 rounds, right? So I know the whole cycle. If you don't have a Me Too, if you don't have something that is easily correlated with some other startup, the investor thinks that the chances of acquisition of this startup is very low because there is no Me Too. If there is no big player who is doing it, then who is going to acquire you? That means you will create your own market, right? And the only way the investor will get a refund back of the money is two ways. Either company goes for a IPO, that will take 7 8 years, right? Or right, this company becomes kind of creates their own market and get into the high margin business. If you look for any other startup, those are really successful, right? You will find that they all were the segment creator, right? So before Google, right, there was no segment kind of a this kind of a concept where beneficiary is different and the customer is different, and beneficiary is paying for the service in the form of a data, and the data is being used and processed and used by the customer, and the Google charge money to the customer, right? So the beauty is that they are the segment creator, right? And they create their own segment, and that's why the growth is. But the gestation period for those startup is more is very it's kind of not less than 5 years. It will take 7 8 years, right? So the problem, those are fundamental. They are not waiting for a founder like us, right, who are talented to solve that problem. What they need is basically a time, passion, commitment, energy, and that too for a long period, right? Most important thing is a perseverance. For those perseverance, neither the investor nor the founder has a patience right now. And that's why we are staying away from solving the fundamental problems of India.
Ram, this misnomer of an angel investor, the terminology is pretty scary for some people. They call them devil investors because the moment the funding starts rolling, the money comes into the bank and the shares are issued, as Amit says, the clock starts ticking. There's a call from the angel investor every day morning, wanted to know how you did yesterday. Now, that was okay in a pre-COVID scenario, you could still live with it. In a post-COVID scenario, I mean, things are very scary. I mean, I was yesterday doing a story on the MSME sector, and I've been in touch with more than 60 to 70 MSME players in Hyderabad and surrounding Hyderabad. And all of them seem to be really scared because despite all the money being pumped in, loans being given, they are now realizing that there is no innovation in their product. Their product is just another product. That's it. So they can just get wiped out overnight in such a scenario. Okay, how do you, when you look at startups as such, Amit did describe about the problem that these people face, but typically, how do you actually analyze a startup and say, do you have the sixth sense to say that this guy or this lady will succeed?
The post-COVID scenario, I would say, all said and done, as what Amit said, is an idealistic scenario. But investors don't wait for 7 to 8 years. They expect return, at the earliest. In fact, while making the investment, they ask uncomfortable questions to the startup as to what are their exit plans, how they will ensure the exit to the investors. But we also look from that perspective, but here we are looking from the perspective that what are the real impact being done by the startup in this post-COVID scenario. Yes, what are the synergy, how the products can be integrated, and obviously the $1 million question is about who are the prospective buyer for them.
20,000 crores for fisheries, for example, I think that's a big amount there. Even a 500 crore for beehives, I think it's a big amount for these sectors. People are not realized because at the end of the day, the agricultural product marketing company is a mafia. Let's accept that fact. It's a mafia that is running the entire thing. I think the farmer is breaking free from the shackles. But coming to you, Amit, when we look at startups per se, the most common complaint against startups in India are that the only thing they have is a business plan, nothing beyond it. Are you true to say that, we know 90% of the startups will pay, 99 will pay. But what is that 1% in the startup that makes them survive? Not everybody can be an Uber, not everybody can be a big basket or a Grofers or anything like that. But what makes them survive?
Yeah, so, and that's a really interesting one. And it's very difficult to find that 1%, right? Whom you'll find that they will going to succeed. And as you know, that's not a purely science. Otherwise, the angel investing would have been very easy. It's a mix of a science and art, right? Where you have to read about the founder, right? So some people say that whom you will invest on, the idea, right, or the founder, right? Some people say that the founder is very passionate, committed, hardworking, had a good education background. If he'll not succeed into this, he will succeed into something else, right? Some people say no, that is not important, right? Founder has to be committed. The idea has to be great. If idea is very powerful, right, and that is solving true problem, it is a potential. Then if the team is mediocre, then also we can invest into that because this will going to make it big. Okay, and we keep on kind of struggling between these two things. But what my personal opinion is, right? It's basically a real problem and a founder's passion. Passion is not for like for doing it with the full energy, but the passion that he is ready to bet his life that either I will going to solve this problem or I will die with this problem, right? So I'm ready to sacrifice each and everything in my life to solve that problem, right? If some founder come with that kind of a determination and stick to one problem with all the difficulties for 3 to 5 years, he will make us some way out, right? And because the problem was genuine and he is persistent, passionate, right? And he has a perseverance to pursue it.
True. Ram, this question is specifically aimed at usually at professors of IIM, because these people produce graduates who earn millions in the first year out of the college. So the saying goes in English: those who can do, and those who can't teach. So when I ask you this question, it's very specific. Why be an angel investor when you can do something yourself? Have you ever thought of that?
So, if you see the stimulus which we have received, the government has pumped in. The startup would be the top bottom who can receive anything from this stimulus. Why? Because the banks are not going to fund the startups because they will be bleeding in the initial years, right? So the help coming from the banks will be very minuscule, if not negligible. So they can only depend on angel and venture capitalists who can come forward and discuss this.
Well, just to close the discussion here, Amit and Ram, I just leave you with a closing comment. This is a question you would have heard in the last possibly 40 days. I mean, you must have been sitting at home, but I've been roaming on the field right from the day 28th November of March. Every day I've been at work except for Sunday. So the question I often ask everybody is, which sector or which industry or which startup, which kind of startups do you think will survive in the next 2 to 3 years post this COVID? The first Amit and then Ram, you can do the closing comments.
Sure. Interesting one. So I think one thing is fundamental to startup that I keep on saying, right? The founders who are really committed and passionate about what they are doing, they will going to survive. The people who are the opportunistic founders, they will leave the battle in between, right? That's a point number one. Point number two, right? People who are able to visualize, right? Predict how the market scenario will going to change post COVID, right? For example, education sector is going for a huge change. The things that those earlier we thought that will going to take a couple of decades, to come into the real life, they are now there, right? The whole medical health industry is on online video consultation, right? The whole education has moved to the to video, right? The artificial intelligence is picking up like anything. So those things we thought that will going to take a decade, those are happening now. The founders who are able to visualize these things and see that how they need to maneuver, change their idea a little bit to adapt to this scenario, and are passionate about it, they will going to survive. There will be no difficulty for them.
Ram, yours.
About your question in the post-COVID scenario, as you said, we are not looking for, as we said, we are not looking for growth funds. We are looking for, we are helping them in this, COVID scenario. So we are in the true sense of, angel. We are not going to bother them about, how much of growth they have happened, they have done, what are the numbers and things like that. So we are going to help them in terms of meeting their, their monthly burn for next 12 to 18 months.
Well, just to close from my comment, I think what we need to do, I remember when I spent a decade with Apollo Hospital, and I was the first one to start the online booking called Apollo for doctor appointment. And today, when I look at telemedicine as a subject, this is something we were breaking our heads on because the government of India refused to recognize telemedicine as a legal entity. And suddenly, when the entire thing hit the fan, on March 25th, the government comes out and notifies the entire thing in a matter of just 24 hours. I think that is what is needed. I think once in a while you need a COVID. It's good for everybody's health. And
Yes.
thank you, Amit, and thank you, Ram, for taking time out and speaking to us at Hygiene News. It's been wonderful chatting with us. I mean, with both of you. And I'm sure that once we come out of the entire lockdown, we will sit for a longer conversation and speak to you both about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks.